up, everybody? You know that I recently learned from my friend who's an NBA reporter that people will listen to a negative segment or negative information twice as long as positive. And since I'm not really into conveying negative information, I got to make this twice as quick to keep your attention. Let's do this. This probably won't be the flashiest or most eye-catching video I've made, but it's something that I feel I need to share from the heart. At Hartford High School, we've coined this term that I love called a two-percenter. And a two-percenter is someone that puts in more sweat equity or more work than 98% of the people they're competing against to achieve any given task. I believe anyone who's a two-percenter or hard worker in anything, that carries over. So if I'm committing myself to my sport or my craft or my skill or my hobby, the chances are my dedication, relentless persistence in that endeavor are going to carry on over to other endeavors in my life so that I can be successful there too. I'm starting to get a sense that my amazing students who truly in their hearts want to be champions and feel that they're giving 100% really aren't aware of what limit that they can go to. That even though they feel they're giving 100%, many of them are in the 10 to 15, maybe 20% range. We have a couple that are getting close to that higher end potential, but I really want them to understand what this commitment level is so that they can achieve what they truly set out to achieve with their high school athletic experience. I've had a number of students come up to me this year and say, "Hey, Mr. D, I'd love to sit down and have a conversation about how I can be a two-percenter." I share with them, I'm absolutely psyched to have this conversation with you, but you need to be prepared for some stuff that you don't want to hear, because if you want to be more dedicated than 98% of the people you're competing against in your sport or in your endeavor, you're going to have to do what 98% of people are not willing to do. If you just want to enjoy yourself, play high school sports, hang out with your friends, have a great experience, be part of the team, get all the camaraderie, strive to be a little bit better each day, that is awesome, and I am all for that. I'm not speaking to those students. This video is actually not for you. I'm speaking to the students who think and say that they want to truly be a champion. In the 40-plus age division, the old fogies division that I'm competing in now with fitness, my goal is to get inside that top 2%. And for years, I was waking up, putting in about 5 hours a day, and I'm competing against old fogies, and I'm still not getting the 2% with that time commitment. So what do you think you're going to get against 17, 18-year-olds that are going 3 times as hard as the old fogies? That's what your competition looks like. So let's take basketball. Hartford High School competes at the Division II level in the small state of Vermont. And at the Division II, there's approximately 18 to 19 teams. So that brings it to around 500 boys. So of those 500, if you want to be a two-percenter, you are outworking 490 other people who are in the division. So if my students are saying, "Oh, Mr. D, I really want to be a two-percenter," they have to understand what that means. And what that means is there are very, very, very few people in your division that are outworking you. And if we were to go even just a tiny bit larger and stay for the entire state of Vermont, for all 4 divisions, there's approximately 2,000 boys that play-ish. That top 2% is going to take a high level of dedication, right? One thing that I've come to learn is that the only excuse we have is the one we make. So if students say, "Well, I have to work," I totally respect that. Do we need to work to help pay our parents' bills? Because if that's the case, yeah, that needs to happen. But if we need to work because we have to have the latest iPhone, or we have to be going out to Applebee's and 99 every Friday night and dropping $80 on dinner with our friends, I don't know. You gotta consider how you're spending your time and your resources. If you're holding down a side job because you want to pay a fitness coach or a sports coach, a skill specific that's going to get you better at what it is you want to do, yeah, that's time worth investing if you say that you want to be a 2%, if you say you want to be a champion. So let's talk about what that 2% might look like for someone. That 2% means the majority of your waking hours are in some way, shape, or form dedicated to your craft, right? So if you are simply not doing anything in the off season, you're going to practice during practice hours, you're going to game during games hours, you're doing what 100% of everyone that you're competing against is already doing. So you are at that baseline of what everybody is expected to do. So if my students are saying, well, Mr. D, I really, really want to be in that 2%, I'm just going to work super hard in practice and I'm going to work so hard in the game. You are still so far down that ladder. I truly don't believe in my heart that my students know actually what that means. What does it actually mean to be dedicated enough to win a championship? What does it mean to actually be a 2%er? So I'm just going to be straight. This is only out of love, but I'm going to lay it down for you. The person who's at the baseline, who just shows up for practice and shows up for games and doesn't do a whole lot else in between, okay? That's kind of what we're calling the baseline right now. Like, that's what you have to do at the very bare minimum. Intentional focus toward achieving what it is you want to achieve, and every moment, every minute, every morsel of time that you're dedicating to your craft is moving you forward to be better. So a 2%er to me looks like this. The night before bed, you prioritize your bedtime, right? You're not looking at screens. You're turning the lights off in your room. You're doing what you need to do to get to fall asleep. You sleep through the night, or as best you can through the night. 2% will wake up in the morning and spend time before school honing their craft, whether it's with their fitness or skill specific. Our basketball coach is in the gym every single morning. The gym is open to every basketball player in our high school, guys and girls, 90 players. Okay? You want to be a 2%er? That's available to you. Then you focus on your schoolwork. Okay, then school ends. Then you focus on your skill specific, your skills and drills, whatever it is. Throw in some more fitness. Go home. Do a little bit of research, find out how can I be a better player, who can I tap into, who is so knowledgeable about this topic that I'm listening to podcasts and reading books and watching videos about how to get better. The 2%er is the consummate beginner. They always view themselves as a beginner that can always learn and get better, always learn and get better, always learn and get better. It's not someone who's like, well, I'm too good or I'm too knowledgeable and I don't need to practice or I don't need to learn anymore. When you hear stories about the best in the world, the Tiger Woods, the Michael Phelps, the LeBron James, the Michael Jordans, okay, they were relentless with seeing themselves as potentially great, but needing to put in a lot of work. So then the 2%er spends the evening, instead of texting their friends, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff, focused on how to get better at that skill. And then that 2%er preps meals for the next day to have high quality nutrition. You have the almonds and the nuts and the apples and the oranges in your school bag so that you're not getting Coke out of this soda machine and candy bars at the gas station because you're hungry and you don't have anything in front of you. And then the 2%er will use the weekends, the holidays, the summers to reach out to someone, maybe a coach, maybe someone who knows more than them, to ask them to work with them to hone their craft. There's so many people out there with more knowledge than us that are willing to help us. It's our job to advocate for ourselves and reach out for that. If you're not doing all of those things, all those things are within your power. Notice I said nothing about talent. I said nothing about genetics, just straight up what you have control over, which is your effort and your attitude. If all those things, the majority of your day is focused on your task, then you can consider possibly being a 2%er. There's maybe 9 other kids in this division that are doing that. There's maybe 19, 20 other kids in the entire state that are that committed to what they want to do. Okay, so I just want to be real and say, if you want to be a 2%er, before you say you're a 2%er or say you want to win a championship, to really understand what that takes. And then from my experience, I've learned that you're not going to win a state championship with maybe 1 2%er on your team. You got to have a couple of them. And hopefully your leader, whoever that is on your team, is the hardest working dude on the team. So you want to be a 2%er and you open up your phone and you see that you're spending 6 hours a day on your apps. I think it's time to reconsider how you're spending your time, what you're doing with your time, and how you want to be better. There's so many resources out there. 98% of people are not taking advantage of them. You want to be a 2%er? You want to win a state title? You want to bring a chizzy to hang a banner in the gym? You're going to have to be a 2%er, and you're going to have to surround yourself with 2%ers because only one team wins. And that team is the best. And you need to be better than the best in order to hoist that title. Failure cannot cope with persistence. Driscoll is out.